Welcome viewers to this session on chemistry laboratory safety. Chemistry laboratory is a special place, very special in the sense that here you come and do experiments, learn a lot of things and discover a lot of things also. But you also see a lot of chemicals and apparatus in the chemistry laboratory, but you should not fear, because it is not a place where you should feel that there is a danger in going inside. No, you come here and follow the precautions, what you should do and what you should not do, and then only you will enjoy what you are learning and you will learn safely. That is the motto of this session. And today we will also discuss about a technique which is very commonly used in the chemistry laboratory, which is the heating technique. And in that course, we will see how to use a burner, which is mostly used in the laboratories, and sometimes you do use some spirit lamp also in the laboratory. So, we will discuss all these aspects in today's session. So, coming first of all to the chemistry laboratory safety point, let us discuss what we really need in a chemistry laboratory and what generally are the materials we handle. So, first of all, as we have already told you that we will be using a burner and a beaker. Beakers are also quite useful in the laboratory. For heating, we will be needing a wire gauge, a tripod stand also is there, and spirit lamp is shown here, and also some general equipment like a glazed tile is there, a spatula is there, and some pumice stones which are there in a watch glass, reagents, some solids like sodium chloride, a wash bottle containing water, and some watch glasses are also here with me. Of course, to hold the test tubes which are being used in a laboratory, we use a test tube stand, and here is a reagent bottle. We have taken a sample of this bottle to show you here, and some droppers which are very useful, because you should try to use them for safety as well as accuracy, you can say, or the kind of amount you need in a laboratory. So, first of all, whenever you are going to use a laboratory, you should carry along with you safety glasses, wear a lab coat like I have worn one, and wear shoes also. Do not walk barefoot in the laboratory. So, these three things are must while you go to the laboratory, and before even that going to the laboratory, you should be ready with what you are going to do. The experiment you are going to do should be clear to you. You should be prepared with what principle is behind the experiment which you are going to do, what are the reagents required, what is the theory, how to record your observations. So, all small things will in the laboratory make your use of the laboratory safe, because you will be doing whatever you are doing with a planning. So, you have to plan before you go to the laboratory, then go to the laboratory and wear these safety devices with you, have them always there. And then one more point to go to the laboratory and start the experiment is you should use the clean apparatus. Whatever you use should be clean, whether it is a beaker or is it a test tube, apparatus should be cleaned first, and then you should start doing the experiment. Now, coming to actually what you do with the reagents or with the experiment or whatever you want to do in the laboratory, you will be having some reagents already placed in front of your seat and also on the side shelves. Some reagents are on the side shelves and certain reagents are placed in front of you. So, how to actually use those reagents? The reagents which are very close to you, you can use right on your shelf or tabletop, but for the reagents which are kept on the side shelf, which are for common use, you should take your test tube to that shelf instead of bringing that reagent to your shelf and keeping it with you. By doing that, you will be holding that reagent and not allowing others to use in the time they need it. So, better would be you take the test tube to that shelf, common shelf, and take the reagent from there. And how to actually do that is, first of all you should lift the stopper or read the, first of all even before lifting of the stopper, you should know what reagent you are going to take. You should read the label on the reagent bottle. So, whatever reagent need only you should pick that. Remove the stopper. How to hold this stopper and where to place on a safe tile like this, so that it is not contaminated, right. Now, take the reagent with the help of a dropper and put in a test tube like this, and then close this bottle and place where from you have already taken this on the same shelf, same place which is the place of the bottle. So, you should not place it here and there anywhere you like, no, it is not allowed. You should go and replace whatever place from you have taken this bottle for the use. Now, to take the solids, how to do that? For solids, we use spatula. Here we have some solid reagents also in the laboratory. I have taken this sodium chloride reagent, which is the safest one to show to you, and one thing to avoid is not to use either a piece of paper for taking this reagent or any other thing wherever you would like to use this solid reagent, you should always use a spatula. So, suppose I want to dissolve this reagent, I have some water here, I am putting little of this with the help of this spatula to the test tube and would dissolve by shaking it. So, this is a proper way to take out liquid samples, liquid reagents or solutions with the help of a dropper or solids with the help of a spatula. Very, very safe procedures you should follow. I will replace whatever I have taken from the place it was lying. I am keeping them back like this. And also one more thing to be taken care in a laboratory is safety and cleanliness. Whatever you use in a laboratory, whether you are using some papers or some matchsticks or something else or broken glass is there, you should not throw all this to a sink. There is a dustbin always there lying in the laboratory. You should always put those waste materials, whether it is a litmus paper, filter paper, any other paper you have used or burnt matchsticks or broken glass pieces, to a dustbin, never to the sink of your laboratory. So, if we have some liquid reagents or solutions, we should dispose them off in the sink of the laboratory like this, and then we can go for safe doing of our experiments. One more thing to be taken care of in the laboratory is not to waste the resources. Like when we light up a burner and do some work on heating, after that often we see that many people just leave the burner like that. They do not turn it off and the gas is just wasted, or water taps are open and they are not closed while no water is being used by them. So, we should be careful that whenever possible extra lights and burner and flowing water should be closed to save the resources. And by doing all such kind of small bits and caring steps, you will actually make that the laboratory is really a safe place for yourself also and for others also to work. So, we wish you very good luck to how to handle the materials and be confident in a working in a chemistry laboratory. Now, coming to the next part of what we actually do many times, we use a heating. By heating is normally done either by using a spirit lamp or by using a burner here. And what is the purpose of heating? You know it very well that we often heat some mixtures of reagents or reactants to carry out a reaction. We also heat at times when we need to dissolve a solid into a liquid or to evaporate a liquid to just concentrate the contents. We need heating, and also we heat when we have to take either the melting point of a solid or the boiling point of a liquid. So, these are few exercises we normally do and we need heating. So, how to heat is a very safe and procedural way to do it is there. Normally, we use it by a spirit lamp. If it is not available, Bunsen burners are very commonly used. And to actually illustrate how do we do heating, first of all let us see what this burner is. Various parts of this burner are very solid base you can see, and here is a tube, metallic tube, and here we have a collar like this you can see, and there is a air hole. You can see there are air holes, and here you can see a regulator, and through this burner is connected to the source of a gas, cylinder of a gas. So, gas will come from the cylinder and go from here to this pipe, and when we on this burner and light this burner with the help of a matchstick, you will see a flame here. So, I will just keep it here and then we will show how to actually do it. I am just lighting the burner like this. So, you can see a very yellowish flame, not very clear flame here. This is a flame which is luminous. Why it is so? Now, just see what I am doing. Here this hole is there, it is almost totally closed. I am trying to open this hole so that some air passes. Here actually this is incomplete combustion because not enough air is being given to the gas which is being burnt. So, with the help of this hole, I am opening this hole like this, and you see how the flame is changing. The mixture of air and gas is being variated like this, and you see how different the flame would look like, but this flame is not required by us. We will need a clear flame like this. So, then we will realize that that is the best mixture of air and gas we should be using for heating purpose. See, now this air hole is open, you can see, and air is entering. Now, that yellowish portion is almost completely gone off, and we are getting a clear blue flame here like this. So, if you see it very closely, now it is very clear flame, and you can see actually three parts. How three parts? One is very dark, lesser dark in a sense that almost invisible area, but there is a dark area near the rim of this burner, and above that is a bluish flame, second zone, and top of it third zone is a colored zone also again, but the color is little different from blue, it is bluish violet, more on the violet tinge. So, you can see clearly the three portions of this flame, inner grayish or almost dull blackish portion, then a bright blue portion, and uppermost is the purplish blue color zone of this flame. And how do the temperature grades like in these zones? Obviously, the innermost, the blackish one, where the particles of the gas are not completely burnt, is the blackish zone, where the zone of incomplete combustion is there, light blue, and the topmost where the combustion is complete, the purplish zone is the hottest zone. So, variation of temperature goes like this. inner one lesser hot, then middle one hotter than the below one, and the topmost is the hottest zone. So, whenever we have to heat any substance, we have to heat in the upper zone. Like if I tell you how to heat a liquid, suppose I am heating this liquid. Now, again to heat a liquid, again certain precautions are to be taken. If I have to take a liquid in a test tube, first precaution is that you should not fill it more than 1/3. Solution in the test tube should always be less than 1/3 or as it is required for your experiment. So, how to heat? I am just touching the lowest bottom part of the test tube to the burner's flame, and how to hold this? The mouth of the test tube, the mouth should always be away from you, good, but not towards the somebody other's face. No, it should be away from everyone's face, or it should not face towards anyone, I should say. And then you hold it like this. It has started heating. I can feel that there is a sound of bubbles forming in this side, and then slowly I will keep it like this, and you can also note that I am shaking also in between. Why? This is because just to make the heat pass to the solution or the liquid very uniformly. Otherwise, if I keep like this, it will just be getting hot from the bottom only, but we need uniform heating. So, we often should shake also like this. So, it is hot. Next precaution is how to handle this hot test tube, again very safely to a test tube stand, right, like this. And if we have to heat a liquid, suppose I have a liquid reagent or a solution, I have to heat, then I have, in that case I have to use a tripod stand, put a wire gauge for safety as well as for uniform heating, and then put the burner like this. And to further make the heating more safe, we will use some pumice stones. These are broken pieces of china, you can say china clay, and then I will put few pieces here in the liquid, so that while the liquid is being heated, it should not bump. And if we wish to stir also with the glass rod, we can also stir this liquid, so that the heating is uniform. You can see here the liquid is becoming hot, and have to note down the temperature. I can also use a thermometer to heat it to the desired temperature, and after heating you can see here now it is quite hot, and I do not need to heat it more. So, what I should do is I should now put off this burner first. So, the burner is off. I am taking out the burner to this side, and I am not immediately taking this beaker from the wire gauge. Why? Because it is hot. So, you have to be very careful while dealing with the hot objects in the laboratory. I will wait for some time till this gets cooler a little, and then hold it with the help of a duster, and then put it on a tile. So, this is a extra safety you have to do with the hot objects. You should never touch them immediately while they are hot, and then you should see even the wire gauge is hot. So, even hot wire gauge can also damage your hands in case you are in a hurry, or you want to quickly lift off the apparatus and just put everything off, that your experiment is over. So, let me move out from the laboratory. No, do not do like that. Like the planning you have done for starting the experiment, similar way you should dismantle also things very coolly, calmly, taking your time, so that whatever you handle in the laboratory is handled very safely. So, let us recapitulate what we have learnt today. We have learnt that safety is very important aspect while doing work in a chemistry laboratory. You should very carefully handle reagents, liquids or solids, kept in the laboratory, as well as the apparatus or the glassware which you are using in a chemistry laboratory. What precautions in general you should keep in mind while working in a chemistry laboratory is, while heating you should take appropriate precautions and should not hold hot glass objects or anything which seems hot to you. Also, a general thing to be observed in the laboratory is, do not taste anything, because anything can be very harmful to you. So, that is a general instruction given. Always you should wear safety gloves if required, but definitely safety glass and a lab coat. And at the end you would be really wondering to know that we are heating these objects or apparatus which is made up of glass and they are not breaking. Why? You should ponder over this. So, what kind of a glass it is? Is it very special to keep the objects hot, or while heating it does not break? So, which type of glass it is, you should try to find it out. Also, if you see that it is not very thick glass, often we see that test tubes are also of very thin kind of glass, and this beaker also, which has now become colder or normal at now normal temperature. So, I can hold it now. Again it is also not having very thick kind of a surface or material. And third thing to be taken care of is, only certain apparatus is to be meant for heating. Apparatus which are used for measuring volume, like a burette or a pipette or a measuring cylinder, should not be heated at any cost. We hope that this session was very useful to you, and you must have enjoyed listening to the finer points of how to work in a laboratory, and hope that while you work in this chemistry laboratory, you will be working in a very safe condition, and the safety should be taken care of for yourself as well as for others. We wish you very good luck for the coming sessions, for actually going to the laboratory and working there for all your experiments. Thank you very much.